All right, kids, let's finish up the new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius video. So, of course, because I was in the park the first time today, I forgot to put my iPhone on Do Not Disturb, and a phone call came in, a robocall of all things, and stopped my last video 5 minutes before it was complete. So I'm going to complete it now, and I can't wait to go back to doing these in the park again, because then I don't have to be holding this camera in this shaky way to get it done, but I'm really determined to get it done today and not wait till tomorrow. So here's the fifth item that we were talking about in the new moon in Sagittarius video, new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And we were talking about the fact that the new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, but the general optimism and good faith, or faith in general, and wisdom, luck of Jupiter is curtailed by its proximity to Saturn and the fact that it's in Capricorn, and so the entire chart is disposited by Saturn in Capricorn. Okay? There are two things I want to say about this, 5A and 5B. So if you saw my new moon solar eclipse video, you know there are 5 things I wanted to talk about, and this is the fifth and final thing. The first thing that I want to say is that it's very difficult to, considering that the solar eclipse is ruled by Jupiter, but then Jupiter is ruled by Saturn, and the two of them are really close to each other, and on the 21st of December are going to be conjunct, the grand conjunction in Aquarius, the very first degree of Aquarius. We cannot assume that this eclipse, this eclipse is very much affected by the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which is an extraordinarily constructive conjunction, but as I mentioned in the video I did on it a few weeks ago, a wrecking ball of a conjunction, insofar as it ends a 20-year cycle, does a reset and starts a 20-year cycle, and you can certainly feel the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. You know, I don't know to what extent the 21st is an important date in and of itself. I hope it isn't too violent a date as we get to that particular date, but more importantly, with a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, you can feel the sea change that it's trying to create at least 6 months before to 6 months after. And I would argue, almost to some extent, a year and a half to 2 years before, and you could feel the effects a year and a half to 2 years after. Certainly a year before, year after. I would not be surprised if we see an escalation towards the conjunction and then effects after it. Okay, so the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is a big deal. It's a reset. It is a conception of sorts. It's a restart of sorts. It is an initiation of sorts. It's a new cycle, and wherever Aquarius is in your chart, boy, is that part of the chart going to be, you know, that's the next phase for you over the next 20 years, in a certain sense, of a focus of development and growth. So I'm going to let you think about your chart in that way. But as far as the solar eclipse is concerned, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is still, it's a constructive conjunction, but it's still a somber, serious, practical, real, time-space reality construction. It's sometimes with Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, emotionally we talk about feeling restricted and even depressed. And certainly as we've headed to this conjunction over the past year and deal with the consequences of it next year, I don't think the feeling of being constrained or depressed is out of the realm of possibility for a lot of people. So because Jupiter's buoyancy and optimism is restrained, or is coupled with Saturn's immense emphasis on consequence, there's a seriousness to this conjunction that is just by its very nature. It's not, you know, it's a conception, it's an initiation, it's the start of an important cycle, it's a grand conjunction. It's people who have Jupiter-Saturn conjunct in their charts can be real powerhouses in getting things started and giving them a push and getting things done, but at the same time can really deal with bouts of hopelessness and depression often. whatever the emotional makeup of the time, the important thing to note is that it is a very real conjunction. And I don't mean real insofar as it is happening on the 21st. But I mean, you know how when people say colloquially things get real or shiz gets real, it's not, it's a pretty serious conjunction. It has a tone of seriousness. If we're constructing something or if something is going on, it is not, even if it creates opportunities, and it absolutely does, it comes with an atmosphere of commitment and presence and consequence, and it's an opportunity to create something. It's an opportunity to dive in and create something. It's an opportunity to live in the space of Aquarius for the next 20 years, wherever Aquarius sits in your chart. But the demand with the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is that whatever you build will take commitment and will require seriousness. And by the same token, 5b, the second thing I wanted to say is that the very fact that at the time of the eclipse, the dispositing planet Saturn was in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn is all about consequence. And this is what I want to leave you with the solar eclipse in Sagittarius that we had yesterday, which is, yes, it is a new moon in Sagittarius. Yes, it is a solar eclipse and something needs to be released. Yes, insofar as you're dealing with things that need to be finished up or communicated or completed, this solar eclipse is going to give you the oomph, energy, especially with communication, to start to move mountains and get things done and start to move. Whether it is the protection of your own turf or your boundaries, whether it is and that kind of combat, whether it is going after your goals, for most of us and many of us, I think it's going to be a combination of both, because the energies so far have been so forward, backwards, forwards, backwards. Under Saturn's influence, there's almost both a requirement and an expectation that whatever it is that you do and initiate at this time is going, it has a make or break quality. So it has a kind of a now or never quality. Okay? Because of the seriousness and the somberness of Saturn and Capricorn, because of its emphasis on achievement, because of its emphasis on you meeting your highest potential, because of its emphasis on karmic consequence in the right way, you sow what you reap. So the quality of the effort that you put in determines the quality of the results. And Saturn and Capricorn is very clear and very clean. The better the quality of the effort, the better the quality of the results. It's time to, we might talk about releasing things in Sagittarius and starting things and availing of opportunities and woomph and self-defense and going after what you want. But under the influence of Saturn and Capricorn right now, there's a need, there's an urgency, there's a now or never quality, there is a seriousness to whatever it is that we're going to be taking on and dealing with and completing and releasing in this particular eclipse cycle from December the 14th, 2020 to May the 26th, 2021. Okay? By the time the next solar eclipse in Sagittarius comes along, about a year from now, Saturn at least is going to be in Aquarius. So, in Jupiter at that time, I can't remember whether it's going to be in Pisces, but no, it's still going to be in Aquarius. It's going to be at the end of Aquarius. So it's still going to be disposited by both Saturn and Uranus. Next year, the energies are much more rebellious. This year, this completion, this eclipse cycle from yesterday to May the 26th is all about whatever actions you need to take right now are very much under the shadow of completing the old energies and embracing the new ones, But whatever work needs to be done using the tool of communication and channeling the energy and vitality of Mars to either go after what you want or implement appropriate self-defense in terms of boundaries, there is a consequential quality and it's not frivolous, it's not light, it's not small. You know, the way Saturn in Capricorn at this time would talk would say, you know what you need to do. Do it. Because if you don't, it will somehow set that pattern. It will somehow, with Saturn in Capricorn, just go for it, do it. It's sort of a now or never invitation to go ahead and dive in and finish up the old and move towards the new and use Mercury communication and the trine with Mars vitality to engage in the appropriate self-defense to finish up what needs to be done and channel the energy and start to take action towards wherever it is that you need to go and do. And most importantly, if you know where Sagittarius sits in your chart, to really start to identify what you need to release. What that security blanket is. Is it something you're really attached to? Is it an attachment to how people or situations should be and they're not showing up that way, and so that's creating a certain amount of stress? Where's the message? Is it a way that you are being that is preventing you from fully accessing wherever it is that the sign of Sagittarius sits in your chart and what house that occupies and whatever it is that you most desire within that house? So sometimes releasing something actually allows you to get something. Because if you have been a certain way and that has prevented you from achieving a certain fulfillment in that house, in that part of the chart, then this eclipse cycle may allow you to release those patterns and boundaries that have been holding you back, that way of being that is so comfortable. You know, even if you wanted a different outcome or a result and instinctively known that you need to shed it, this is the time to shed it. But with the fact that this eclipse is under the shadow of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and is disposited by Saturn in Capricorn, whatever it is that needs to be done at this point in time that you instinctively know and that you come across over the next 6 months must be dealt with the best quality of effort. Quality of effort does not always imply amount of time in effort. It doesn't mean work 14 hours a day. It does mean work right and thoroughly and completely and in an absorbed, dedicated manner. And start to move those mountains with Saturn and Capricorn. And with Saturn and Jupiter conjunct in Aquarius, if you know where Aquarius sits in your chart and what house that occupies and what that stands for, just kind of keep just know that that part of the chart is brewing big time. Okay, I'm going to leave it at this because some of these themes are going to get developed as we move forward. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, please, and click the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you're notified whenever I do new videos. Thanks for making it through the part 1, part 2 nature of this solar eclipse in Sagittarius video cycle. I will do better next time. And feel free to like the video, comment on it, or this one or the previous one if you found them useful. Likes and comments seem to promote circulation on YouTube. And my contact information is going to be in the description box below, so you can always contact me for information on rates for readings, or if you want me to create an easy-to-read version of your chart. Okay, I will leave it at this and be back in touch soon. Thanks for making it through the shakiness of this video as well. Bye.